Donald Trump isn't even president anymore and hasn't been for a month and a half, and yet the media is still trying to memory hole him. Live recordings of his CPAC speech are completely gone from YouTube, and channels are getting banned just for showing it. Because Orange Man still bad, I guess? Trump spoke at CPAC last week on February 28th. You can't find the speech on YouTube, you can't find it at The Hill, San Francisco Gate, NBC, PJ Media, or any outlet that boasts video of the full speech because the feeds have all been nuked. Channels hosting it also nuked. But before we get into the meat and potatoes of this video, I need to give a quick shout out to USCCA for supporting the channel. The United States Concealed Carry Association helps responsible Americans like you prepare for what happens before, during, and after an act of lawful self-defense. USCCA members get life-saving education, expert training, plus self-defense liability insurance. Bonus, a USCCA membership is always risk-free with their 100% money-back bulletproof guarantee. Use my link down in the description to learn more about everything that USCCA has to offer. Now, what's really interesting about this Trump CPAC story is that suddenly, a full 24 hours after this story went viral, News Now by Fox suddenly has a full video of the speech. It's the 50th video, as in 50, down in the search results, and was not in the search results when I first wrote this video on Friday at all. It actually only popped up after Newsweek fact-checked this story and YouTube added the Newsweek fact-check banner to the search results. Newsweek says that this story is false, by the way, because of that one Fox video, even though every major news media outlet that I looked at for a video of the speech showed the black box that said YouTube had removed it for violating community guidelines. But, you know, fake news. Either way, this video that is suddenly in the search results only now that Newsweek has run a fact check is still 50th on the list and is the only copy of the video I could find. So I have a few theories on this whole thing. One is ratings. Two, if you can't actually see the speech, then you can't judge it for yourself. This was the media's MO for most of Trump's presidency. After all, if you control the narrative, you control public opinion. And third, people are afraid he'll stay relevant, he'll run again, and he'll win. Case in point, the headlines about the speech claim all kinds of things that honestly border on psychotic obsession. Trump teases a 2024 run and commands GOP loyalty to his holy name. What? Trump's speech at CPAC was enough to haunt your most surreal fever dreams. Trump was unhinged and unchanged at CPAC. Golden Trump statue at CPAC implies he's king of the GOP. Trump enters the Fat Elvis stage of his career. CPAC stage versus Nazi insignia. Can you tell the difference? The CPAC stage was shaped like an old Nazi symbol and people want answers. CPAC veers into neo-Nazi fantasy. Was it deliberate? That hardly matters. Trump was bored by his own speech until he got to the revenge list. Also, this USA Today article, which has since been changed, apparently used to say CPAC's 2021 stage design was a public high five to white supremacy.
Why would we high five that?
Journalists also wrote breathlessly about how CPAC makes them want to die, ironically because of propaganda and self-aggrandizement, and Trump's speech gave them an anxiety they've never felt before. Writers called him a demon from the depths of hell and claimed his speech was full of evil juju, even suggesting that when he named Republicans who had voted against him during his impeachment trial or talked about the Supreme Court, it was a secret signal to the QAnon masses to put those folks on a kill list. Seriously. Amidst this sordid and controversial backdrop, we've seen CNN's ratings go dumpster diving straight into the garbage. All the other left-wing legacy media alphabet networks have seen similar drops, though none have tanked quite as hard as CNN. Fox, on the other hand, has stayed pretty steady, and somehow conservative content, despite being throttled, is still some of the top stories on Facebook, which CNN has been complaining about over and over and over again, instead of, trying to get back to real journalism. Without Trump, these people have nothing to talk about and have run out of fear to sell. COVID numbers are down for 6 weeks straight. Joe Biden is taking a leave of absence from pretty much any press that requires him to string more than 5 words together. And now that Biden-Harris is in charge and the world still sucks, they have no one to blame it on. But Trump making voodoo curses with Senate and Supreme Court hit lists, inserting himself into the Our Father while far-right QAnons and evangelicals worshipped a golden calf? Man, that is some good shit. At this point, legacy media has basically become the print version of reality TV, and the unfortunate truth about reality TV is that people eat it up. The networks have become addicted to it and are getting desperate for their next tabloid fix. So what was so bad about this speech? Maybe I want to take my chances with the voodoo curse and see whether or not Q Shaman actually shows up to drag me to hell if I watch it. Or maybe I'm reading the articles wrong and you actually have to turn the lights off and chant Trump into the mirror 3 times with CPAC on in the background for a Nazi ghost to show up, and then someone on the political hit list kicks the bucket. I mean, if this speech is supposed to be full of evil juju, I want to see the evil juju. Okay, so they say that if you turn off the lights and you say his name into the mirror 3 times, he comes and gets you. So I'm gonna try it, all right? Here it goes. Trump. 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 Either way, you can't test out this new fat Elvis demon Trump urban legend because pretty much any full iteration of the 90-minute speech has been scrubbed from the internet, except that one video from Fox that's 50 entries down in the search results. You know, the one that's after 49 videos of legacy media newscasters and Jimmy Fallon lookalikes all talking about Orange Man bad. And it's not just the videos. Whole channels are getting banned or suspended for airing it. Right Side Broadcasting Network has been suspended from YouTube for 2 weeks just for posting the speech. Newsweek claims it's because they made claims about voter fraud, but really they just live streamed the speech. YouTube claims the speech violated their guidelines on election information. According to RSBN, the video had nearly 4 million views. Also, according to RSBN, several major media networks had their coverage of the speech pulled, but did not face suspensions. Trump's own channel is stuck out in limbo somewhere, as YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki said she still believes that Trump poses a risk of violence and has pledged to only lift that restriction when YouTube has determined that the risk of violence has decreased. Apparently, the Capitol Police heard from the FBI and DHS on Wednesday that some QAnon militia on 4chan had a possible plot to breach the Capitol again on March 4th, and that's enough to keep his channel suspended. According to the FBI and DHS, QAnon folks have said that Trump will be inaugurated on either March 4th or the military will help him return to power on May 20th. So I think at this point we can all assume Trump won't be allowed to play on YouTube again until after May 20th, if ever. To my knowledge, March 4th came and went and nothing happened, but I imagine they'd have a pretty tough time getting through the barbed wire and military troops still stationed at the Capitol. You know, the ones that are supposedly there to stop a dictator from coming into power. The point is, if you can't find the speech, you can't watch it for yourself, so you can't decide for yourself, and have to take the media's word for it that he once again incited violence and demanded Republicans treat him like a god king. You know, it kind of reminds me of that timepiece that talked about the well-funded secret cabal full of powerful people who controlled the information in order to influence public opinion ahead of the election, making sure it was properly fortified against Trump. The good news is, I found this speech. As I said earlier, when I originally wrote this video, that News Now video was not anywhere in the search results. Nowhere to be found. So instead, I had to go to The Independent, an outlet out of the UK, to find a full transcript. So at the time, to find out what was in it, I had to commit to reading the full 90-minute transcript from a foreign publication. Which I shouldn't have to say is pretty ridiculous and alarmist. So again, the rest of this video is based on the transcript and the little timestamps that they put in it. Most of his speech compared his 4 years to Biden's first 100 days, told people to get vaccinated because Joe Biden's vaccine appointment was apparently so painless that he forgot about it, according to Trump, complained about Biden's strikes on Syria, and hinted at a 2024 run. According to the timestamps, 20 minutes in, he'd mentioned the Democrats losing the election once, in passing. According to this transcript, he didn't mention it again until somewhere around the hour mark, at which point he said, "Another one of the most urgent issues facing the Republican Party is that of ensuring fair, honest, and secure elections," which I assume is a reference not just to 2020, but also to H.R. 1. He continued, "The Democrats used the China virus as an excuse to change all of the election rules without the approval of their state legislatures, making it therefore illegal. It had a massive impact on the election. Again, you have to go to the legislatures to get these approvals. This alone would have easily changed the outcome of the election at levels that you wouldn't have even believed." He's not wrong in that these rule changes should have gone through the appropriate legislative steps, and in a few states definitely didn't. He fired off a couple more sentences about the rule changes, which, remember, was reported in that timepiece as well, and then complained about indiscriminate ballots coming in, including from undocumented people and dead people, which has been a controversial happening during every election as far back as I can remember. Then he talked about all the court cases and how they pretty much all got punted. A little further along, he mentions the Time article and tells people to go read it. That is the misinformation getting the speech and channels showing it nuked, complete with people calling the speech treason and an act of sedition in the comment section of The Independent. Also, this person claiming they'd rather eat toenail clippings than read the full speech. Media Kool-Aid is just so much tastier. According to polls conducted at CPAC, Trump is still widely popular among Republicans, and failure to convict him in the Senate did open the door for a third run. The left is terrified of that. If they weren't, they wouldn't have spent 4 years talking about how the very act of Trump winning in 2016 gave them PTSD.
Donald J. Trump is now President of the United States. President Obama is the ex-president. And Mr. Trump, for the moment, steps up.
If they weren't afraid, it wouldn't have catapulted us into this next level of Ministry of Truth cancel culture. Hell, they wouldn't have had to put in all that time and effort to orchestrate the secret cabal featured in that Time article. The irony is, the more they try to erase Trump and his supporters from all public record, the more it strengthens his base and apparently his demonic voodoo powers. That is it for today's video. Hopefully I included enough educational, documentary, scientific, or artistic content in this video to be allowed to stay. If not, then always remember you can also find me on BitChute, Library, Odyssey, and Gunstreamer, as well as Rumble and all major podcasting platforms, which I do remember to post on eventually. Otherwise, please like, share, and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and drop a comment for the algorithms. If you like my channel and want to help protect me against the evil spirit of Fat Elvis Voodoo Trump that I attempted to conjure for the making of this video, you can also check out my Patreon and Subscribestar down in the description. Until next time, thanks for tuning in, and no matter where I end up, I'll catch you on the next one.